I never imagined I'd be someone capable of betrayal. Growing up, trust was the foundation of everything in my family. My mom always said, "Your word is your worth," and I carried that like armor through most of my life. But sometimes, life backs you into a corner so tight, the only way out costs more than you ever expected. At the time, I was living in a small but decent apartment in Philadelphia with my girlfriend, Emily. We'd been together nearly 3 years. She was in nursing school, doing overnight shifts and cramming in study time whenever she could. I was trying to make a name for myself as a freelance graphic designer, but when COVID hit, work vanished almost overnight. Rent was $1,350 a month. Not outrageous, but when money's not coming in, it feels impossible. By March, things were falling apart. I'd already borrowed from friends, hit the limit on 2 credit cards, and sent out over 80 job applications with barely a reply. Emily did her best to pick up extra hours, but with her schedule already packed between rotations and assignments, she was running on fumes. Tension built up between us. Fights started over small things, groceries, missed texts, her being tired, me seeming distant. We both started turning into people we didn't recognize. That's when Jason came into the picture. He was in his early 40s, worked in finance, and lived in the apartment upstairs. We had spoken briefly in the hallway before. He was divorced, had no kids, and always seemed a little too smooth for comfort. He'd compliment Emily in a way that made me uncomfortable, talk to me about stocks like I was supposed to be impressed, and occasionally make comments about how some people just knew how to make life easier. I never thought twice about Jason until one evening, when I ran into him while taking out the trash. He looked at me and asked, "You all right, Nate?" I paused, not really sure how to answer. "Just life, man. Rent's due and I'm short." He raised an eyebrow, lit a cigarette, and exhaled like he'd been waiting for that moment. "You know," he said, "help sometimes comes in strange forms. Ever think about that?" I gave him a confused look. "What are you talking about?" He leaned in a little, speaking quietly. "What if I told you I could help with your rent this month? No loans, no payback. Just a favor." That word, favor, hung in the air like something rotting. Jason didn't grin. He looked serious. "I've seen you and Emily. She's gorgeous. The kind of woman who probably wouldn't cheat, right?" My stomach flipped. "What the hell are you saying?" He stayed calm, not flinching. "I'm not saying anything. I'm offering one night with her. That's all. You get $1,500. Covers rent, groceries, and whatever else you need. Clean, simple, no strings. After that, I disappear." I froze, stunned. Was this some kind of sick joke? I wanted to punch him or scream, but I didn't. I just walked away. That night, I barely slept. The offer was disgusting, but it clung to me like smoke. We were sinking, and fast. 2 days later, the eviction notice was taped to our door. That night, I broke down in front of Emily. I told her everything. She was furious, at Jason, not me. "That creep thinks he can buy people," she said. But then I saw something shift in her expression. Doubt, fear. She didn't say yes, but she didn't say no either. The next morning, she was quiet. We barely spoke. By evening, she looked at me and asked, "If I did it, would you still see me the same?" I had no answer, just silence. A few days later, it happened. She told me she was going upstairs to talk to him. I didn't stop her. I didn't say a word. I just sat on the couch, staring into nothing. She was gone for almost 2 hours. When she came back, she didn't say a word. She just walked straight into the bathroom and stayed in the shower for half an hour. There were no tears, at least none I saw. But something inside both of us cracked that night, and I don't think it ever healed. Jason left the money in an envelope outside our door. I hated myself for picking it up, but I did. We paid the rent. That night, we even ordered takeout, pad thai, her favorite. We ate in silence, staring at nothing. It was like pretending to live a normal life inside a house that no longer felt like home. The days that followed were a blur. Emily pulled further and further into herself. I kept trying to act like everything was fine, but it wasn't. Intimacy felt hollow, like we were acting out a memory. We avoided eye contact, stopped talking about tomorrow. We shared a bed, but turned our backs to each other at night. 3 weeks later, she moved out. She said she couldn't forgive herself, and deep down, she knew I couldn't either. She found a place with a classmate. I stayed behind, scraping by with temp gigs until I finally moved in with my cousin in Jersey. I haven't seen Jason since. Someone told me he moved out a few months later. Sometimes I wonder if he made that same disgusting offer to someone else. Maybe to someone even more desperate than we were. It's been over a year now. Emily and I haven't spoken. I see her on social media from time to time. She graduated, and now she works at a hospital in New York. She looks happy. I really hope she is. People love to ask, what would you do for money? And most of us like to believe we know where we'd draw the line. But desperation doesn't care about those lines. It sneers at your morals, laughs at your pride. That night didn't just end a relationship, it stripped away the person I thought I was. I'm not writing this to make anyone feel sorry for me. Maybe I just needed to say it out loud. That even good people, honest people, can do things they never imagined, just to survive. If you're reading this thinking, I'd never let that happen, I hope you're right. I really do, but I also hope you never find yourself with your back against that same wall, when rent's past due, the fridge is empty, and every job you apply for disappears into silence. Because when you're that far down, the line between right and wrong, it doesn't just blur, sometimes, it vanishes. This story isn't just about infidelity, it's about the crushing weight of desperation, the quiet erosion of dignity, and the painful choices people make when backed into a corner. It serves as a reminder that behind every act we're quick to judge, there may be a story we haven't lived, a struggle we haven't felt. Some stories are not about heroes or villains, but about people trying to survive with the pieces they have left. Thank you to everyone who took the time to listen, reflect, and sit with the discomfort of this story. To those who shared their thoughts, their empathy, or even their silence, we see you. Your presence matters. These stories are never easy to tell, but they're necessary. And your support makes that possible. Disclaimer. This story is a work of creative nonfiction based on true events, but names, locations, and certain details have been altered for privacy and narrative clarity. It is intended for mature audiences and may contain sensitive content. The decisions made by the individuals in this story are not endorsements or moral statements, but reflections of real-world struggles. Listener discretion is advised.